Hi, good to meet you once again. Louis Das from English Easy Louis channel. Wishing you well by the grace of God. I am 100% sure you are all doing fine with the good health and condition. In this video, I am just going to begin to help you to understand auxiliaries in English. If you had noticed my videos earlier, guys, I have already said that we will come back to these auxiliary verbs again and we will deal with each and every auxiliary verb in English in a detailed manner. And this is the time that I am going to deal with these auxiliaries. Don't know how many videos it will take for us to understand completely. But as far as today's discussion is concerned, I am just going to introduce to the auxiliaries in English. So we will learn the names of the auxiliaries, and then as the time goes on, I will try to clarify and explain and discuss each and every auxiliary verb and their functions. Okay, so let's go to the discussion of today. So let's go to the topic, and today auxiliaries. See, when you hear the word auxiliaries, what does it mean? Auxiliaries means helping. Alright? Auxiliaries means helping. So, they are nothing but verbs. So, auxiliaries, in other words, they are known as helping verbs. Okay? Auxiliaries, they are known as helping verbs. Now, there are 24 auxiliaries in English. There are 24 auxiliaries in English. They are called helping verbs because they help us to understand the sentences, or rather the concept of the sentences or meaning of the sentences better by helping the verbs in the way that they could do in sentences in English. Alright? Okay, now let me write the names of the auxiliaries on the board. We'll see. First of all, we all know that there is what is known as be verb. Okay, you may have come across this particular word many times. Those who are students still doing your studies, many times they would have asked you fill in the blanks with appropriate form of the verbs, and simply in brackets you would see this word is written be. Okay, be. Now what is this be? Be is nothing but there are 5 verbs and they are known as be form of the verbs. Be forms. Well, let me write it. So what is the first be form of the verb? And. Okay. Then is. Then are. Then the past tense of is was, and past tense of were, the are is were. Okay, so there are 5. So these 5 verbs are known as be forms of the verbs, or rather be form verb. So whenever you are asked to fill in the blanks with appropriate be form of the verbs, depending upon the nature of the sentence, whether it is singular or plural or present tense or past tense, you have to make use any one of these. Okay, so that is the role of this be form of the verbs in sentences. So there are all these and, is, are. Are, of course, and is, you can use them for singular. Are is plural, of course, present tense. Now was, were, they are all past tense, and this is for plural and this is for singular. Okay, so singular verbs, plurals are there, and tense also is there. Okay, so these 5 verbs, you must remember These are the 5 basic B form of the verbs. Okay, B form verbs. So apart from that, we have do verbs. We call it do. Okay, and does and did. So they are what is known as do verbs. And they have has, have, had. So all these verbs, these three, has, have, had, past tense of has, have is had, and the past tense of do, does is did. So how many verbs are here? Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So there are 11. There are 11 here. 11 verbs are here, and these 11 verbs are known as primary auxiliaries. See, primary. They call that as primary auxiliaries. See, there are 11 of them, including the B form of the verb, B form verbs. There are 11 of them. So we call them as primary auxiliaries. Apart from these 11 verbs, we have 13 more auxiliaries. Let me write them on the board. See now, we have, all of us, we all know that there is the verb called will, and the past tense of will is would. And there is what is known as shall and should. Okay. Then you have can, could. Alright. Then you have what is known as may, might, and must. May, might, and must. Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, and must. Okay. Now afterwards, what do we have? We have what is known as there, ought to, need to. Sometimes we call it need to, then used to. Alright? Remember now? See? Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must. Then dare, ought to, need to, used to. How many of them are there? Just count. Will, would. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are 13 verbs, and they are known as modals. Okay, so these 13 verbs are known as modals. These 13 verbs are known as modals. Okay, and among these 13 modals, you see there are 4 of them. At the end I have written in a special manner, so that you will understand better. So these 4 of them are called quasi modals or semi modal. See, semi modals. 4 of them: dare, ought to, need to, used to. Okay. So how many of them are there? 11 plus 13, 24. So in English, there are 24 auxiliary verbs for us to write and make use of them to understand and to write sentences in English better. Remember, each verb has something to do in every sentence in English. Especially when we come to modal auxiliaries, they have different functions. And they are absolutely important for English or in English. They are known as primary auxiliaries because we use them Apart from V verbs, they are all primary. We call them primary because they are all used for primary purposes. Primary purposes. Remember when we did tenses? Now all these verbs are used in various tenses. See? All these verbs are used in various tenses. Apart from the semi-modals and quasi-modals, something like that, all the other verbs, they are used in tenses. So therefore, that's why they are known as helping verbs. Remember when we did tenses, after present tense and past tense, for every verb, we used helping verb. For example, for future, we used will or shall. For perfect tenses, we used has, have or had. Okay. So, main verbs, though there are main verbs, these verbs will help us to understand the tenses or the concept of the sentences better in English. That's why they are known as auxiliaries, modal as well as primary. So remember, so for the time being, you can take this as an introduction to these auxiliary verbs. I will come back to that later one by one. We will discuss in the coming days. So there are 24 auxiliaries, 11 primary auxiliaries and the 13 modal auxiliaries. In other words, this modal auxiliary is also known as secondary auxiliaries. We may call that as secondary also. Well, why do we call this as secondary? Because since we call this as primary, we call this as secondary. So there are 13 secondary auxiliaries, rather 13 modal auxiliaries. Among them, 9 are modals. Among the 13 modal auxiliaries, 9 of them are modals and 4 of them are quasi or semi-modals. Modals, modal verbs. We call that simply modals, and all these are verbs. All these are verbs and they are known as helping verbs. Just go through this, and I think this would help us to have a basic understanding of what are the auxiliary verbs in English. Okay guys, so remember 24 auxiliaries, 11 primary and 13 secondary, known as modals, quasi-modals or semi-modals. So with this, let me conclude this video, and when I meet you in the next video, we will discuss with the examples how every auxiliary can be used in sentences and what are their functions. So watch my videos till the end, increase the subscribers, tell your friends to make use of these videos, because every video is a separate grammar item and the beginners also can understand easily. And to make you to even understand better, these auxiliary verbs are taught even at the primary level nowadays. Primary level, even at the LKG, UKG onwards, call them as auxiliaries. Even the kids also, they know the names of these auxiliaries. Okay. So that's the introduction guys for the auxiliary verbs in English. So until I meet you next time, see you. It's your teacher who is the signing you off from this video. Good. Thank you. See you in the next video. God bless you.